Today I want to go over my hydrangea and rose cuttings and just show you a simple way on how to root them that I learned. So these I actually had in the ground, but then I had to move it because we're landscaping that area. So this is endless summer. You can see this is the mother plant. And these cuttings are actually having buds, which I'm just going to pinch off because I want more growth. And yeah, so you see. And these I actually had in the ground last fall. So fall, winter, and then spring. And spring is when they root. And I know because when I took these out, they didn't have any roots on them. So if you're new to starting cuttings, that's something that I actually learned. Unless you do it early in fall, it's not going to root. These were in pots. I had it under a tree with shade and I kept it watered there. So I'm going to let it grow to get a little bushier, and then I'm going to transplant it. And let me move it back. So that's endless summer. So I have it right here. And with hydrangea cuttings, I found it's easier if you just stick them in the ground. They usually root pretty well if you keep it hydrated. So I'm going to show you this other spot. So over here, oh, you can hear the bees. So this, I think it's also endless summer from the ones that didn't survive. So last year I had Limelight hydrangeas in this area. Okay, so a tip if you're not that good with cuttings and you're lazy with watering. So what I found was foolproof was last year I had my Limelight hydrangea here and I kept it watered and it gets morning sun. And there's a fence here, so this is south facing, so south this way. So I found this is a pretty good spot, but you have to keep it watered. And the Limelight hydrangea actually bloomed here last year, but I didn't touch it because I was busy with other stuff, thank goodness, because then it got stronger. I mean, I let it grow spring, summer, and then in the fall, I transplanted it. And I'll show you what those Limelight hydrangeas look like now. Okay. It's a little messy. Oh, he is plucking flowers. Bernard, làm mấy cái thôi nha. Ê, không có làm nhiều quá. Need a weed, but so this is it. So these are the Limelight cuttings from last year that I let grow in one spot. So they actually were crushed together and didn't have that much space in between. So I think that's why they didn't grow as big. But so I have a couple here. There's another one. Yeah. So I found the hydrangeas are very robust. If you stick them in the ground. So last year when I did these, I stuck in the ground, no rooting hormone. I just kept it moist and it grew. And, so I'm using my pear tree stem as a stake and it looks like it's rooting. Yeah, so these bloomed last year. And I'll show you another one. This isn't a rose or a hydrangea, but I just want to show that for most plants, I'm experimenting with just sticking it into the ground and seeing if it would root, and it does. So this is a cutting, this spirea bush shrub, and this is oregano and also grown from a cutting. And boxwood does really well, so you can do a lot with sticking in the ground if you're not good with moisture control. It's not blooming now, but this is pinkberry. And I actually moved it out front because where it was, I don't think it was getting enough sun because it kept getting diseased. Oh, I need a weed, but and this is a cutting I did from it. And what I did was I took the disease stakes actually and stripped the leaves, and yeah, and I'm trying to, here I gotta tie these up, but the idea is because the fungal disease is already in the ground, if I can keep the plant healthy with adequate sun and water, that it would survive. And these I actually haven't watered since, but this is grown from last year. Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to show you how big I take the cuttings. I don't take the small cuttings. You see how this, the red in red is the new growth, but the stake is the original cutting. And I think this is new growth from last year. So I took these last fall, but it grew in the spring. I knew because when I transplanted it, it didn't have any roots. But then next thing I know, it started to grow. And maybe because I took it late in the fall, but if you maybe take it earlier in the fall, and when it has more time to grow with the nice weather. So temperature definitely is a factor. If you do it indoors, it would work. Because if, so I didn't know this when I first started out, but they say take cuttings in the spring and fall because the weather is just nicer. It's more moist and it's cool, but still hot enough that it would grow. But if you can generate that same condition, like in a greenhouse or inside your house, you'll be able to take the cuttings anytime. I did that last year. I did the cutting in the fall, brought it inside, and had it grown in the winter. But then I transplanted it in a spot that didn't have enough sun, so it died, and I didn't water. So this is an incrediball cutting, and it actually started to bloom up here, but I pinched it off because I wanted to focus on growing. And that is it for hydrangea cuttings. Okay, it's a little messy right now because we're fixing the fence, or my father-in-law is. Oh man, Bernard. Oh, my son just messed up these flowers. Let me just take it off. So this is under a tree and this one's getting eaten, but it's still blooming. Bernard không có hái nhiều quá nha. So last fall, I pruned this. And I pruned that. And I just plopped them under my pear tree. And I think this is the one that's the yellow flower. Hold on. I'll have some of the weeds here. You can see, so this one, you see that's the rose. I wonder if it's not getting enough sun. Maybe that's why it's looking like that. I might have to transplant it. So this, you see it's flowering. And these, I did not use any rooting hormone. I just stuck them in the ground. And here's another one. There's two there. Can you see? So this is one. And this is another. And they're pretty big. Let me see if I can read some. Let me see. So this is the stake. Yeah. So I might cut the blooms off so that it's focused on growing. There. Yeah, so can't really make it out, but there's more. And these I was actually, because I had my pear tree right above it. I wasn't sure if it's getting enough sun, but last year I had corn right over there. So I figured, well, if the corn can grow there, maybe this will have decent amount of sun, because if you notice the wild roses don't get that much sun. So I might move this or prune back the tree some more. This is the rose that actually smell really nice. This type, I think it's like a proven winter variety. It doesn't smell, but it's pretty strong and bug resistant. So it's been raining and shady, so some of the blooms don't look that great. And that's it. If you have any questions, you can leave me a comment below. Or if you have any other suggestions on how to root stuff, I would love to know it. Please like and subscribe if you thought this was helpful. Until next time, bye.